Welcome
Hi,
to the show.
everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
But this is not like a live stream. You record it and then you play back later.
No, this is completely unrehearsed, unscripted, and live going out right
Live.
now as we speak. So please feel free to say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I was
So,
just going to be like a passive, just to listen more than attend today. I work tomorrow morning and it's already like a little bit late, so but we'll see.
have you eaten?
Eaten?
Yeah, have you had food?
Yeah, I'm done with the dinner.
Right. So you can just go and crash out now when you feel tired.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So, anybody have a subject that they'd like to discuss? Anything at all? Open discussion.
Well, I could hardly shut you up before we started the stream, and now everybody's quiet. That's funny.
Funny haha or funny strange?
Both, actually, but you were saying?
Um,
The history.
Well, you were on about some strains here and there, and viruses and animals and blah 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 blah. Can't you just repeat what you said?
I mean,
Yeah.
it was explaining to me.
But yeah, we were. I did ended up sending some copies of some work done by some doctors that found uncanny similarities of the HIV virus spliced into the coronavirus, and I wanted to send that information, that paper, to a genetic genealogist to see what he had to say on it, but I never got a reply.
I heard that the mechanism, how it works, it's similar to the HIV, like the transport mechanism.
Yes, and that makes me think instantly to the gain of function research that was carried out. What was spliced in with this coronavirus flu? What was it given? What ability was it given? The ability to mutate quickly, the ability to attack the immune system.
I think it's something with autoimmune. Like I have some. You said yesterday you have some sensitive skin, so I also have some but not that sensitive skin. Like, for example, I cannot use the same desodorants more than a few times because then my body starts to react on that, and then I need to switch it. So I can use only like some particular ones that are not too like I can sense if something is artificial, like even in the food. So I have some allergies, so, and allergy is basically autoimmune reaction. And in the March 2020,
are you sure it's an autoimmune reaction or extreme sensitivity to toxicity, which otherwise, usually for normal people that aren't that sensitive, it would take higher doses for them to register it?
Yeah, I mean,
you register it at lower doses. That's all.
Your body starts to produce. It's a hyperreaction.
Yeah. I mean, you could consider it a hyperreaction, or you could just consider it an early reaction, like an early warning system for the rest. because it's probably toxic to everybody else. It's just
Yeah.
it hasn't caught up with them yet. Whereas your sensitivity is kind of like a red flag of, hey, maybe we should look at what this is and what this is doing to everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah,
So,
I agree.
like a canary in the coal mine.
So what he dies when there's no air.
Well, because the canary is so small and so sensitive, it is the first thing to notice if the air changes and becomes toxic. So as soon as the canary's dead, you quickly run out of the coal mine.
Yeah.
because,
That was in some movie. I think they were always
That's
like
a-
a carry canary in the mine. I think.
yeah, that was the old early warning system, very high tech.
Yeah. Well, but I guess it was, you can rely on it. at least.
Yes. Too bad for the canary, but yes, you can rely on it.
Yeah.
But that's what kind of I think that people with allergies within society, I think that's what they are.
yeah,
Like an
probably,
early
yeah.
warning system for the rest of the population of, hey, maybe we should have a look at what this actually is and what are these people allergic to? What chemicals are they? And how does this affect everybody else in larger quantities?
So now you remind me that so I had another thoughts about how like why allergies, but then why the cancer is so in a high rates than before, and like my conclusion was something like the organism evolves in the surrounding, in the environment, and there is a chemistry, like air is this and this, food is this and this. Like there is an environment, and it's a chemistry soup that we are put into, and when we start to change things in the environment, organisms try to adopt,
Yeah, and that soup
then
becomes toxic.
Yeah, but now when the environment has artificial substances or chemical, I don't know how to say. It's a little bit late for me, so my brain is a little bit already in a shutdown mode.
All good. But I know what you're saying. Artificial substances incorporated into that soup.
And then body tries to adjust to the artificial substances, so it's not natural. So and then it doesn't know what to do, and then it creates mutation, which is basically the cancer.
Or takes in those artificial substances into the body, which then get processed and cause complications.
Yeah, they connect differently than the other one, like the normal one. Like for example, plastic will never come to touch with our chemistry in the natural environment, for example. So those are things that does not exist. And anyway, so we wash our clothes in some washing substances. Then we have like a creams and shampoos that are also artificials, and that's all on your skin whole day, so you need to react on that somehow. So anyway, food also, and different like
food again.
They say they wash.
I was going to say food's a big one. Yeah, go ahead.
Because they say they wash, but there is a lot of things that goes inside the food, and like you cannot wash it just like wash your tomatoes, wash your strawberries, but there is a lot of things that is inside, and then the only way how they measure toxicity is, I think, like needs to be under some level in some amount of days, like because the concentration drops down over the time. Like I get it goes disintegrated, but I don't know, man. Like the same thing as it gets into us and it connects to our chemistry, the same thing happens inside the plants, so it got integrated inside. So maybe we cannot even measure it because it becomes part of the plant. And then we eat it. Like when tomato was developed in nature consider everything, like from the creation of that tomato until it got eaten and then go through the body of the animal that eats it and then it got processed and then it's a whole cycle. But when we create a GMO tomato, we only think about some aspects of, like, we want the skin to be more resistant so it doesn't rotten or something, and that's all what we consider. We don't consider what will happen after, or and we cannot. I think that's what we talked yesterday. Like, human brain is limited with the understanding capacity to understand everything. We can only understand what we focus on in the current moment. Cannot see all causality, and that's why the danger to play a god and try to, because we only, or that's the same as giving the advice, because we only see a short amount, short focus. So yeah, and then when we modify genes, we are only focused on what we need at that particular moment that gene do. We don't see the whole causality, what we create. So that's why I think it's dangerous, and if we consume it, our body will have to adjust, and then we modify ourselves, because we are what you eat. That's the process. Like, you build your body with the food that you consume. So whatever you put into yourself becomes part of you. Drop mic.
You are correct. What you eat does become part of you, and where it's grown does become part of it, and what's used on it or what it's fed becomes part of it, which when you eat it then becomes part of you. Interesting.
Yeah, and I was just remember what I started with is, so March 2020, I get some, like, on the feet, on the fingers, I got some reaction, and it looks like it's frozen feet. So my mother is a doctor, so she told me it could be that it got frozen because maybe the circulation or whatever, but it wasn't cold, like now. So later they connected and they said now they call it COVID fingers. So I think I had a COVID at that time, and that reaction. So they, like, now I read that only a few days ago, like, the COVID finger thing is, they talk about it for some time already, like when the cases went up, and when they have more information, they saw that kind of things happen. So it's related to, it's also cardiovascular, like, because it's a circulation, it's and then on a small level with a small capillary, I don't know how you say it, like, the small vessels. So they got
capillaries.
Yeah. So that's all connected. Like, it's like everything with that COVID and with vaccine is related with blood and with thickness of the blood and things like that. So so I had that reaction, and then just recently I read, I think it a few days ago, they said it's because it's autoimmune reaction. So it's similar allergic reaction. So I related that to my allergies, and then it's autoimmune, which relates to that HIV transport things. And anyway, it was weird. So I first thought, maybe it was a cold, or maybe it was a fungal infection, or maybe it was combination of fungal and bacterial. And then I had a few creams that I treat that. but they said that it lasts for several months. So, and it was like that, like so the worst was for 2 months, and after that, I just had like a spots of like purple spots on those places where when it was the worst reaction. But anyway, just wanted to like connect what we talk about, the HIV allergy and what I had on my feet. And I even have a photo, that. But yeah, it was so sensitive. I couldn't even wear a socks for a few days. I need to put my feet into like cotton blanket and just keep them. I couldn't walk to the shop even. But that
Yeah.
the worst was only 2 days.
I wonder if seawater would have helped.
So yeah, I mean that was in March, and then by the June, in August, like I was better on in June, and then in August I went to my country, and then it was summer, so I did a lot of swimming, and then it did change, like it did help.
Yeah,
So
thought
yeah,
so.
it did help. Yeah, so I was there like for 20 days, I think. And I was almost every day I was at the sea, and like the difference from the first day when I came and the last day when I went back, it was like like the difference was observable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent. Just as I suspected.
yeah.
No
Even after the
guarantees
first
though.
week.
That's why I was curious. But I'm glad you were able to test it out.
Yeah. I was in that, like I was trying everything, and I was observing, and like what if I do this, what if I do that, like
It had you worried for a while
everything. I mean, I was a little bit worried at the
at
beginning.
first.
Yeah, at the beginning, because I didn't know what it is, and the
Wouldn't
reaction
go
was,
away.
yeah, and the reaction was so like strong. Like at one point, my so my fingers were like a double in size. I couldn't even see my nail, like on the finger, and it was so swollen in front on the sides, and it was red. And then after 2 weeks or something, the skin started to peel off, And then I
Yeah.
thought like it was better. Like after that, I thought, okay, so now that skin went out, so that means probably it's going away. And then the same finger would like go back a little bit to normal, and then after a week it will again, so then I was a little bit worried, because like go away, like why it doesn't
Yeah.
go away. And I already
Yeah.
tried different creams and everything, so I thought maybe if it's a fungal, it should go away, but it's not going away. Then I tried combination fungal and antibiotic cream, and it's still like first time, like it looks like it will go away, but then it comes back again. So, and then like you just start to think that oh, I solve it, okay, that's it now, and then it comes back. So like what the fuck. But then yeah, then like
I've had instances where the seawater has actually helped clear and get rid of tropical ulcers. And yeah, that was interesting, and that was antibiotic resistant as well. So no matter what I did, it just wouldn't go away, wouldn't get smaller, and just kept growing in size until I went for a swim in the ocean. And after the first day, it had shrunk to half of its size in one day after going for a swim. So yeah, of course, the next day I went back. After 3 days, it was pretty much gone. Whereas previously, I had weeks of antibiotics with nothing, no results, just wouldn't go away, kept growing. It was almost as if the antibiotics was feeding it.
yeah.
But 3 days at the ocean. On the first day, I got a little bit of sand in the wound, and when it all dried up, it dried up with the salt and the sand and that, and it just shrank, like instantly, like healing.
Yeah. I have another story similar, like, but a little bit different. I just want to say that I think we should have a little bit more faith in the nature, not just rely on the medicine itself. Like, medicine is okay, but because I think there is
It
one
doesn't fix
theory.
everything.
Yeah,
It doesn't
there is one.
fix everything.
There is one, like, a theory. Maybe Thor will know more about it because it's related to meditation and those kind of, like, Eastern medicine. Is that it's not that disease attack you, like, because we are always surrounded with microbes. It's that you make a room for the disease to grow. So,
And it's the
like,
symbiotic relationship between
yeah,
you
yeah,
microbes on your body that are in perfect balance that actually help protect you.
yeah, and then
I've read a little bit about this, and it's actually interesting.
yeah, I mean, I have even the proof, because I tested it in the when you go. So I'm sorry, let me just finish, so then you say your story, because I just want to say that like when you go camping, for example, into the mountain, and you are out of the city and you cut yourself, for example, your wound will never get infected because the nature is in balance outside of the city, and the wound will just dry and shrink, and you will be fine. But if you cut yourself in the city, even with a small cut, it immediately it got red on the corners, and then if you don't treat it, it can get infected with more, and like. But in nature, when you're in nature, it's like all fine, nothing happened to you. Like, you don't have to treat it with nothing almost. I mean, if it's not deep and if it's not too bad. But anyway, that's because I was like cut. We spent like 10 days on the mountain. I was falling and going through the bushes and everything. I was all in cuts and everything, but never got infected. You get your paper cut in a city, like small one. It immediately becomes red and sensitive to touch and whatever. So, yeah. So you continue now. Sorry.
You're all right. You got nothing to be sorry about. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to discuss?
Call me a skeptic, but I've stayed away from modern medicine the vast majority of my adult life. I just, I think it's abused. I think most of modern medicine is abused, and they're definitely generating customers instead of solutions. But
Well, a doctor does come in handy when you need a day off work, and your doctor, you tell him, "Can I get a doctor's certificate for a couple of days? I sort of just need a bit of a break."
Yeah, but I think also those pills for like anti whatever pills. Like, I saw that in my country it's not that, but I saw in US that they use a lot of pills for. One pill for wake up, one pill to go to bed, one pill for daily activities. You have like all colors.
It's the bombarding with the marketing and the ads and the propaganda behind it that's responsible for that. If you know what I mean, it's.
I think people should be encouraged to to learn how to deal with things. So we start to speak about that yesterday, but we didn't go on that. But I said I have a different opinion on depression. So once in a chat in a few days, one guy said like that depression is because of the chemical imbalance but I think it's like what's the name? Schizophrenia. It's a more chemical imbalance that you are born with, but I think that because of depression, you develop chemical imbalance. So it's other way around for depression. For disease as so I think depression is not disease, is a condition, but disease as, for example, schizophrenic, it's that is a disease because you are born with, like, or you get triggered in some point in your life, and then those chemical imbalance becomes. But for depression, I think it's the other way around, because like on the village, when people have something to work and needs to get early, go to the field, do a little bit around animals, and then you are tired, go home. There is no depression, there is no chemical imbalance, because the only way is because like your psychic is connected, related to your body, like in a healthy mind, in this healthy body. So mind is a power, like even placebo. If you can cure yourself with a placebo just by thinking that you are better, then also you can get sick with the placebo.
No, that is true.
Not with the placebo, but with like if you think of yourself that you are miserable and blah blah blah, you have like low energy thoughts, let's call it like that, then I think you can induce negative responses in your body by some hormones, some because it's all chemistry, and then there is a chemical imbalance.
The opposite to a placebo is the nocebo.
Is that a joke, or is that first time I heard that?
These are the ones that have the negative effects and expectations.
Yeah. But I mean, just like, even if you don't take anything, if you just think about yourself,
placebo is when it's positive effects, and nocebo is when it's negative effects. Yeah.
But anyway, that's all just because of your mind. I think even there is one example of if I have something that looks hot and I touch you with that, you can develop like a burn on your skin. Even the thing is not hot, it just looks hot. Like if you are absolutely convinced that it's hot, you will develop a burn. What do you say?
I was just going to say, I've heard of that. I haven't actually seen any tests and stuff. It's.
Yeah, I also I heard, but I don't know.
But I definitely have seen papers written on the placebo effect, most definitely.
So yeah, anyway, I think that people should be encouraged more to, deal with the things in a healthy way. And then only if they really cannot, like at least they need to try. They cannot just, expect somebody else. So that's why I think like the hope is a dangerous thing, because when you have a hope,
it has its purpose.
Listen. When you hope, you basically take away responsibility for yourself, and you hope that somebody else will solve your problems. So that's why I think it's dangerous. Like, okay, and maybe, there is another type of hope that maybe has a purpose. But in general, I think people should first try before they hope. So that's basically it. Like you need to be a little bit. You need to try. You need to show will
Of
that you want
course, I
to
don't
change something.
disagree. But there's nothing wrong with trying while still having hope. Just because you have hope doesn't mean you don't have to try still. I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be silly.
Okay. I mean, I agree, but you need to try. You cannot just hope and do
Of
nothing.
course, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
That's
Yeah,
wrong.
no. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%. But hope is interesting. Even empty hope is still hope, which ceases to be empty.
Yeah. I mean, hope it is interesting because I think like. But yeah, I mean, it needs to come along with the desire.
And the drive to push
Yeah.
further.
And then it
Sometimes
will
hope,
create the drive. I think that desire.
because
Yeah.
I was going to say, sometimes it's the hope that gives the extra drive, gives the extra desire to push further.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
As described in The Little Engine That Could. What about the opposite effect? Any of you ever experienced something where people just ignore things of nature or physics for whatever moment they're in that brings the emergency to, do some crazy shit like a 4-year-old lifting a refrigerator or a teenager moving a car off their brother or something?
Well, I heard about it. I don't know if I experienced, but I think I heard about like it happens in schizophrenia, for example, that because I think it's also related to what we spoke yesterday about meditation. It's how focused you are. Like I think like for example, schizophrenic person, they might think that they are all powerful and they have like extra strength sometimes. Then, like even I think I heard that I think from the doctors that if they want to restrain a person, it's hard. So I'm not sure that I have like real like scientific proofs, but I heard some stories.
So maybe a little bit of schizophrenia pointed in the right direction could be a positive thing sometimes.
Well, who knows? Like what they see.
The mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah, it's just because like it's easy to say some person is not normal, but what is normal? Normal is what is shared between 51% of something. So if it's less than 51%, it's not normal. Like you know what I mean. But it doesn't. It's not invalid, maybe. So who knows what they see? Like even like if you are on those substances that we talked about yesterday, you see things that you don't see in normal state of mind. So maybe schizophrenic is just expanded state of mind, and then they don't know how to deal with it, and then maybe they can learn. That movie, it was The Incredible Mind of Genius Mind, or what is that, with that mathematician?
Beautiful mind.
Beautiful Mind, yeah. So at the end, he was like accept that they were there, but he tried to ignore them, like the extra entities. So maybe you can learn, who knows? Like I have 1-2 friends, but I didn't see them from a long time. I saw one this summer. Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up illness, but who knows?
A lot of it is how people treat you can make things better or worse.
Yeah.
I've noticed that is a big effect that is sort of overlooked a fair bit.
But I think that's in everything, but it's more pronounced when the person is sick, like even the people that miss some, limbs, they don't want you to feel sorry for them, like they want to do things on their own, and then maybe you can help them if there is a need for that, but you don't have to, you don't have to treat them as a less capable person. You know what I mean? Like because that you are taking the confidence from them. You are not helping them. So maybe it's the same with everything. Like that's why even if you are perfectly healthy, but you don't know how to deal with the things, and if you don't have a support from your surrounding, also we talked about yesterday that now everybody is on its own. So you don't have even the family, you are on your own. And then, the easy escape is just to take a medication or something that, like that's the easy route. So you don't work on yourself.
There is a lot to be gained with spending some time on your own. And there's a lot to be gained with spending some time with others. It's good to have a bit of balance in between. When you spend time on your own, it kind of gives you time to be able to sort of return to yourself a little bit.
Yeah, there is
depending
only
on how
one.
you use it.
Yeah, I have some experience on that also, and the thing is that what I found out, like you need to be careful. So it is good, but like if you use it as to escape from yourself, you will never escape from yourself. So
No,
wherever you
it's not.
go, yeah. So
It's not one of
never.
those things. Spending time with yourself is not really. I don't mean it, to do it as in
No.
trying to escape oneself. More getting in touch with the things that make you happy, the things that you used to do, the things that bring you joy. Because this is about recharging, feeling good. What was it that they say?
No, I want to
The
say.
happiest people, the happiest people don't have the best of everything. They make the best of every situation. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but no, I was just thinking of more like when some people has a desire to isolate for some time, to get in touch with themselves. So the reason for isolation needs to be, thought through. Like you cannot just think that if you isolate that you escape from something. Like you need to know that you are getting in touch in yourself. And then while you are getting in touch with yourself, you need to be aware that if you stay only with yourself, you will create a mirror bubble. And because you will answering on your questions on your own, so you will never have input from some, like you cannot create objective. It's hard to create objective
Agreed.
opinion, because
Agreed.
you are talking to yourself. So those
then
are like
again,
dangerous things. But yeah, if you are aware of that, I think you are fine.
then again, you can be surrounded by the wrong people that you can't talk to on a certain level anyway. So whether you're
Yeah,
by yourself or whether you're surrounded by
it's
people, if
yeah.
you're not surrounded by the right people, you can't talk to them anyway because they don't understand you. You seem weird, complex, strange. You don't fit into their little normal box that they're used to.
There is one
People
saying that
fear what they don't understand.
the conversation is always on the level of the lower one. The conversation is always done on the, like, if somebody cannot understand, like, then you need to try to be on the level that is understandable for both of you.
It's not easy to be able to explain complex things in a simple way. It really tests how well you understand what you're talking about. If you're able to sort of do
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, I think that there is like also how well and easy you can explain, then basically shows how well you know the thing, how confident you are.
I've noticed that on a separate subject, we go to a bit of economics. A bit of research recently, because a couple of things came through my feed about shipping in particular. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of boats that are just sitting off the coasts of most of these shipping ports around the world, and sometimes sitting there for up to a month and a half waiting to be unloaded. And when you sort of dig into it, what you find is that over the last 15 years, the ships have gotten bigger and a lot more of them. Trade has increased, but the ports have not been upgraded. You with me?
Yeah.
So what's happening now over COVID is they've gone and sacked a whole bunch of people because they refuse to get the vaccine, and not just in the shipping and transport industry, but everywhere sort of thing. So they don't have enough manpower to unload the ships with the problem that was there before the pandemic and the problems of not enough people, which is causing the price of these items to actually go up and go into short supply. So due to their lack of planning of getting ports up and running and, upgraded for the future, they're blaming this on COVID, right? Upping the prices on shipping, upping the prices on everything, making the consumers pay for it without still doing anything for the infrastructure that needs to be
To
upgraded.
solve the problem.
Now, they've gone and taken some huge plan to spend trillions of dollars on an infrastructure package, only partially of which will go into ports, if anything at all. And that's kind of meant for the future. So they're kind of going to be milking us for this, for these items that are in shortage. But they were also talking about only making them available for vaccinated people, because only vaccinated people can go into the shops. So it's even the airline companies are having trouble. One of them's actually folded due to the fact that all of the staff went on strike and refused to show up for work because they refused to get vaccinated. And they can't replace those staff with the people that are left. So there's a massive work shortage due to this COVID pandemic and the people not wanting to take the shot, which is going to make things a lot harder to begin with, like in the long run as well as things progress. I mean, there are so many levels to this, of the negativity that it's causing, and it can only go on for so long before, enough is enough.
I think there is a little bit of both. Like I don't understand. I mean, I guess there is a shortage, but
Actually,
if you-
from the appearance, there is no shortage. the shortage is sitting in the form of 60, 70 ships off the coast
Yeah, but
waiting to
that's what
come
I
in and
don't
be
understand.
unloaded.
So somebody said it's a transport thing, but where are all those people? They're not in a strike. Some of them
Well,
are forbidden,
most
but
most
anyway.
of them have seen on TV what happens when you strike, right? Like, and protest and so on and so forth. So most of these now have actually taken up lawyers and launching class actions against these companies and the government for damages. So there's a lot going on all over the place on many different fronts at the moment in many different fields and professions due to these mandates. Biden's approval rating has never been so low and is continuing to drop, and it's all based on these mandates. People are losing their livelihoods because of this charade, and they've had enough.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that came to my mind is also like the inflation. Because like imagine if you work for like 30, 40 years and you have some saving, and now inflation comes in and you're saving, like you will have the same amount that you saved. Like let's say you save 100, but
But
now
it's
that
worth less.
100, yeah. So does it mean that you spend your life for nothing? You know, like you are now in retirement and you invest your life. You invest every day for 10 hours, like 8 hours to work and a little bit around to get to the work and home. So you spend a big chunk of your life you invested in a retirement. And now your retirement doesn't work. So your time is, you cannot return the time.
Yeah, no, I know
That's
what you mean.
that's the only value that people have, that they cannot, like money you can lose and you can earn again, but times once you invest you cannot take it back anymore.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's why the US is so intent on making sure the dollar stays where it is. Because there's billions and billions and trillions of dollars and trillionaires, not billionaires. I mean, there's a lot of billionaires, those are the ones you see, but the ones you don't see are the
Yeah.
trillionaires. Now, those are the ones that are very interested in making sure that the dollar that they've invested in stays where it is until they're ready to move it. Because that's exactly what happens if the dollar drops. Their value in the US, with the money that they've got, invested or in banks in the US, all of a sudden would lose millions of dollars if they've got trillions invested.
But
And
that's
they're just not
also
prepared to do that.
like there is an easy game to play, like if you are the one with the, like the rule in the crisis is that the one with the cash earns more, is buying things. So like if you only have like a virtual money, like bonds and things like that, bonds, whatever, I don't know, investment paper, if value goes down, then like property and everything goes down, and then if you have those trillions, you just buy them. Because like, and then market will come back again in a few years, but now you can you own something that you didn't own before, and somebody doesn't own with what they owned before. So I don't know.
It's a huge wealth transfer at the moment taking place with COVID
Yeah.
from the poor and the middle class to the rich that have money to be able to pick through the bones and buy up all of the properties that are being repossessed, foreclosed, for next to nothing.
Yeah. So if you have like that amount of money, then you're not even considering about the value of the. You're more about the volume.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Because, like, and then the volume creates a value. Like if you sell a lot, then the value goes down. If it's a demand, if there is a lack of, then the value goes up. So those are basic things. And then if you have a
Buy
volume
low,
in your control, you can
buy
play
for
the
low,
game.
sell for high in large volumes.
Say again?
Buy for a little bit and sell for a
Yeah.
lot in large volumes. Of course, it's a little bit more complex than that.
Yeah, but that's basic thing. And then it's all. One guy told me once, like he was my boss one, like, and like everything what you need to learn about the trade is just go to the grocery market. When people sell their food, like in my country there is a lot of those, so I don't know, like it's like you have a place when people take their stuff from their farms and they're selling, and then like the eggs, just you can follow the price of the egg, how it goes up and down, and that's basically the same for any market. Like, doesn't matter, it's egg or whatever, but the rules are the same.
What's the price exchange for freedoms nowadays?
I'm not sure. I think it's just basically given away at the moment.
Yeah. The squeeze is on.
Sounds like a song. The squeeze is on.
It's funny that right before I said that, I said that in that way in my head. It was an odd synchronicity there, Van.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm not gonna say get out of my head, please. Bring an oxygen tank and some flippers. Hope your suit's insulated.
I'm used to swimming in the deep end. It's all good.
Yeah, I read a story, actually a few of them in succession with each other that were kind of alarming. The Russian and Chinese armies are doing huge marine and aerial drills, and at the same time, there's a big to do about extra piling up in the East China Sea and then over there by Miramar. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but a U.S. warship was turned around, and bombers were escorted away from quote unquote Russian airspace and water. So
Yeah.
And,
I think it's just some flexing at the moment. Like
Maybe it's just a distraction.
sort of stand in front of the mirror and you flex those biceps and kind of a bit of a show. I wouldn't worry too much about it at this point. There's bigger problems, but then again, I guess they could make a bigger problem to get rid of one problem. You make a bigger problem that makes your other problem look small.
yeah,
So that's why I'm sort of eagerly sitting back, waiting to see what their play is on this grand chessboard that we've been thrown in.
Did you see the new nuclear-capable hypersonic missile?
Yes, I did.
That's kind of insane. I mean, how many of those are already
The time delay photo of it made it seem like a huge laser beam. It was rather amazing looking. But yeah, no, it was interesting.
I didn't saw it. Like, how do you say that's called? Hypersonic missile or rocket?
Yes. missile that can carry
Yeah.
multiple warheads, hypothetically, and it's circled, I think, 3 or 4 times the globe before striking a target in China somewhere as a test target.
Also, that's the China missile.
Yeah, it was scary, impressive. Yeah, it just moves faster than sound and has some type of capability to make it loop around the planet, however
Yeah.
many times.
Earth
And
cycling.
yeah, so basically anywhere they're saying, anywhere in the planet, I'll launch 10 of these. What's up? That's speaking of flexing in a mirror. That's a much larger flex than, hey, look, I have an airplane.
So why did they make a thing when they launch something above the Sydney? Like what? That's not even the half of the globe. You know what I mean? Like the distance is not an issue anymore.
No,
Yeah.
no,
It's
it's
not
not.
that if they
Hasn't
can
been
reach
for a
it.
while.
Yeah.
For some countries, it's an issue, like North Korea. But yeah, for the US, China, Russia, and that, it's not a problem at all. Distance is not an issue whatsoever. I mean, these are space capable countries.
Yeah, and who knows what's really in their space stations and what their satellites are equipped with. Um, I've seen United States military drills where they just have a small satellite dish on one of their Humvees, and it just lets out not even a sound really. You don't even hear it. It's just a frequency or a vibration, and it just knocks down whole crowds.
Yeah,
Supposedly.
I've seen some of that technology. DARPA was working on a lot of it. In fact, DARPA's working on a lot of interesting things.
Do tell.
Oh, one of them was an anti-rocket system on the side of vehicles that was like a laser beam that would cut the warhead in half before it actually impacted.
Hmm.
That was an interesting one. It was made to stop RPG attacks on Humvees and trucks that are fitted with this curtain, laser curtain. And yeah, at a split second, it just basically shears the head off of the warhead before it actually makes contact, so it can't initiate.
Well, that's some strong laser then.
Yes,
I
yes.
mean,
And for the compact version, like I was surprised at how small it was because it looked like one of those Venetian blinds hanging off the side of a Humvee. And then you just see this massive flash and then the smoke and the warheads, like there's no explosion sort of thing. Just like a
interesting.
thump on the side of the car. Yeah, no, DARPA likes to put a lot of YouTube videos up. Only later which they get taken down. It's good to see that not just my videos are removed.
So what they are removing those videos also?
Some of them I have seen removed because when I've gone back to have a look, like there was this, I can't remember. I think it was a LiDAR radar that could actually look through the forest. So it kind of just removes all the trees. It was the early version of that. And for a while that was removed, but that's come back since. That was just some interesting research. I love science, anything to do with science. Yeah, I don't mind reading just to see where we're at technology-wise, capability. Interesting to see how many different implementations you can sort of think of for what we have already, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just too bad. I mean, if the only the main reason why technology goes forward is because of the war.
Not necessarily. The war's there. Technology's just doing its thing on the sidelines. The war's there due to, well, corruption and greed. We would still advance if there was no war.
Yeah, but for example, I don't know, there is I mean, it was in my country, for example, some child is sick and to treat it, it needs to go to another country, and the treatment is so expensive, and then government is not paying that, so people organize their own fundraising or concerts or whatever to raise the money. Or maybe there is some piece of equipment which is so expensive. So how something can be what is for the health can be considered expensive to that level that even country cannot provide it? You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. The capability is not lacking. It's the will.
So yeah,
Hypothetically, if they wanted to make it happen, they could. But there's not enough people wanting in the right place, wanting for it to happen.
but also I think patents, for example, I think in some fields, or I don't know how to regulate that, but I think they are abused, and because it's not just you that invented something, because you went on the college and you learn about the old knowledge that somebody else did it before you, so you didn't have to go from the start, and now you did the upgrade. And
yep.
How can you then protect forbid others to use that, as you gain your knowledge because of the nation, because of everybody before you.
Yes, and the current society is basically hobbling our advancement in the way that it's structured. It's holding it back. It's holding us back as a species.
Yeah.
In many ways, not just technologically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. It instills the wrong morals, rewards the wrong things, poisons the psyche. I mean, there are the good things of humanity that find their way in there too. Don't get me wrong, it's not all bad, but it could be better.
Oh, come on. Being a douchebag is so cool, man.
Apparently all the cool kids are doing it, and the women love it. I don't know, I can't understand it. Like, as soon as you're a douchebag, you're dating non-stop, but if you're a nice guy, you can't even get a date.
I think that's only valid for teens and maybe teens.
Yeah, when they grow up. But then again, you get some adults that sort of react the same way.
Yeah, I mean, young girls like bad boys, but when the woman marry a bad boy, she regrets after.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She realized that she wanted a man, not a boy.
Yeah.
all in time.
Yeah.
All in time. We all learn from our mistakes. But it's good to be able to learn from other people's mistakes simply by observing. You can save a hell of a lot of time, I tell you.
I guess. I mean, there are some things that you need to experience.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Of course. But it does help if you can put yourself in other people's shoes. Have that sort of the empathy to be able to connect. Sort of like, you know, when you, as was said in one of the documentaries that I've got, if you see a spider crawl on someone's arm, you sort of get that flinch reaction, like as if it was crawling on your arm.
Yeah.
Get that weird feeling. That's that connection, the unspoken bond connecting automatically on a primal level.
Can we invent an on switch for that?
There is training, meditation, focus. It's hard. It's difficult because there isn't any textbooks to teach you how to use it. In some cases, I would argue that it's discouraged in the society that we currently have built around us, because it kind of works against the greed and, you know, self-focus that capitalism promotes, encourages. Or should I say predatory capitalism more so than capitalism. And capitalism can work in, and some of its functions are quite useful.
Some
But
people try to.
as a complete one and only fit all system, no, hell no. No, there's a lot of things that need to be taken. I see politics like a little bit like religion, right? Where not all of the religions are right, but they're all right in a small way. So they all hold a piece of the puzzle. And that's how I see politics, right? Not all of them are correct. They're all works in progress, and they all have something that works. If we
Yes.
take what works and disregard and ditch the rest, I think we'd be in a better place. We need to evolve and not be so rigid in our way of thinking.
Yeah, people like just to dismiss one thing and just shift to totally other thing without considering whatever.
People don't like socialism, but without socialism, there'd be no public schools, no public
Yeah.
parks, no public hospitals, no public pools, no public transport, no public roads. And these are social structures that benefit everyone. And it just depends on how you think about things.
Yeah, I think it should be. It can, like, if everything is just, you know, if there is no socialism, then there is no social constructs any. Like there is no
Or social cohesion.
Yeah, I mean, there,
Social-
everybody's on its own.
Exactly. And for a
So-
communal species, that is counterintuitive. It goes against everything billions of years of evolution has taught us. And safety in numbers work together.
And I mean, like, there is simple questions that I ask some people that are like, I don't have any like strong opinion about politics in general, because like I think it's just it's based on manipulation. But so I don't know what to think. But like, even if you throw away like all governments and everything and everybody, it's on its own. How would you split a land? Is it who comes first takes everything? Who is the strongest takes everything?
Well,
You know, then
I think there's an issue at the moment with 40 or 54 people owning more than 51% of the planet. I think there's an issue there that kind of needs to be looked at.
Yeah, then people try to, to explain the difference between capitalism and profitism or whatever. Like capitalism in the pure essence is not that bad. It's the profit, but then it's in everything. Like even if you take the, I don't know, whatever ism you take, it's always a human component that wants profit to get, for themselves something, to extract a wealth for themselves. So it's always profit in the background what corrupts the system.
Actually, all forms of government collapse for the same reasons:
yeah, that's
greed and corruption.
Yeah.
You remove greed and corruption from all political systems, and they'd all function a hell of a lot better than they currently do. But they all fail for the same reasons: greed and corruption.
Yeah.
It should be of the utmost importance to remove greed and corruption from government as soon as possible, as soon as it's seen, because that impedes the proper running of government. It defeats its purpose. It only works for the few if it's not managed like that. There's just a ripple effect that's created when it's not, managed properly.
But I think it's because, I don't know what value, okay, maybe, in the past, I don't know. I don't know. I cannot understand where the value is coming from. And I don't know. Anyway, I will not go there, but how, for example, small business, if you own a small business, it's your business, and you are responsible personally for that business. But in a corporation, there is no personal responsibility. And then if you are owner of corporation, or you are one part of the owners, you can get yourself a payment to get all the value out of the corporation. And even if corporation has some debts, you just close it, and since you already get yourself a payment so big, you can open another one because you have a value, you have that wealth. So I don't know how that function, how that thing got for example, if my company makes 100 and I give myself a payment of 99, what stops me to close the company and open another company because I already have a 99? I mean, I did some business, so I earn, the company, I open company for 50, and I raise value to 100, and I pay myself 99, and I close the company because it has some legal issues. Now I invested 50, but when I close the company, I have 99. So I can again invest 50, and I still has extra on the side. So you know what I mean? You can just open and close as much as you want because you are not personally responsible. But if you have a small business, if you have any kind of, things that are not right, you will have personal responsibility. You will go to jail,
Yes.
at the end.
It's interesting how there's two sets of rules to keep a barrier between you and them. Yeah, you can get successful, but not as successful as us. Or if you do,
and then
you're going to have to come up with some sort of a miracle.
But how now, for example, the company for the vaccine, for example, how they can be personal responsible for, because it's a company, so company will get close. Is it the people? Maybe the politicians will be responsible because they made the decisions, but then politicians has their own immunity, they maybe only if they, I don't know, it's all, I think, those kind of protections creates corruptions, because is the opportunity that makes a thief. You know, like you will not steal unless you have an opportunity to do it. So I think, you know, I think the laws and everything is somehow, and even, you know, who makes the laws? Laws are always adjusted to fit the current purpose. Like how, like for example, even like those.
At the moment, the laws are being adjusted to suit an agenda and narrative by the rich ruling class upon the population.
But I think it was always like that. Now it's just more obvious because we are all involved.
It appears I may have misunderstood Agenda 2021 or Agenda 21. I don't know. There's just a lot going on at the moment, and at the moment, just sitting back, waiting for things to fall into place and pan out. There's a lot of action being taken. There's a lot of change in the air. That I feel good about.
Like I don't want to think bad for people, for any people, like, but sometimes you cannot help yourself.
At the moment,
yeah, I would enjoy something, you know, bad happen to someone. That's like a wrong feeling, but like sometimes you have it.
I think it's called Schadenfreude, is the German term for it, as finding pleasure in the misfortune of others.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yes. It's not considered a good thing to be said about somebody in Germany, I must admit.
But you know, like
it's interesting because I don't know of an equivalent word in the English language which would substitute for Schadenfreude, due to the fact that Schadenfreude, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, means to find joy or pleasure out of the misfortune of others by observing or watching the misfortune of others. Observing, causing, or watching, I'm not sure, I can't remember. But it's along those lines of finding joy in the misfortune of others. And it's
but sometimes you cannot help yourself, like
yeah, well, that's why they've got America's Funniest Home Video Show, or, you know, whatever, where people, you know, falling over, getting hurt and hitting themselves in the nuts just drives people wild. They love it. As long as nobody gets hit, of course.
I read comedy or laughter explained the best in a science fiction book by Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land, where the main character is from another planet. He doesn't understand Earth or any of that. He groks something else. But he's at this zoo and he's watching these monkeys play. And one point he bursts out and he laughs for like 3 days nonstop. So after he stops, his people come to him and are like, "Hey man, you know what the hell is that?" And he said, I finally understand it. I understand why humans laugh, and it's because they're presented with something that is so extreme that they either cry or they laugh, and laughing feels better.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, there is even like once I burst into laugh in a funeral when my grandfather died, and that's like probably that was a reaction.
Taboo. How did other people react to you doing that?
I mean, I was young at that time, so, and I think they understood. But for me, it was weird. But I I didn't care too much because I loved my grandfather and he loved me, like, and everybody knew that, like, we were like, we had a good relationship. So I didn't think that
I
somebody was thinking something bad about me, But I escaped into the, like, I couldn't stop, and in the kitchen you have like the storage, like
Pantry.
storage area, yeah. So I went there and I covered myself with, you have like a curtain that to divide those, and then I was behind it. I was just bursting in the laugh because it was a friend of my grandfather, and he was like old, and he tried to make a tie, around my neck, like, to make a knot. And he was trying, but he was old, and I let him, like, he tried first time, and okay, I will do it for you. And, he threw a tie around my neck, and, when the tie goes around your neck, and you keep it with both arms, and then you are try to make a center, like pulling one side and another side. And he was like adjusting, and then he tried to do something, and then it just, didn't go into nothing. And then he started, adjusting, and he started adjusting that. Like in my head, it was like, it's all for nothing. Like, you will not make it, just, let it go. But I couldn't tell him because he was so serious. His face was so serious, and he was trying, but he was so slow, and I don't know. And then I just burst and couldn't handle it. But yeah, I guess it was, also related to that, like, denying death or whatever, but who knows?
Well, the last thing that a loved one wants when they pass is to cause the ones left behind any pain.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
I am sure your grandfather wouldn't want you crying.
Yeah. And even I think, like, so my grandma told me that she was with him, she woke up in the middle of the night. He woke up in the middle of the night and asked for water, and then, like, he died. But so she was above him, and, like, try to, like, don't go or something. But she said that he just looked at her and he said, like, like, it's okay, like, and then he was aware and in peace. So yeah, I don't know, like, it was weird, but I think it's. I thought about, like, what.
You just put me there. It was hard on your grandmother seeing him go like that.
Well,
Love of her life. And now
she never recovered from that.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I am sorry for her, but it's on her. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she should. I mean, because
they had a very deep bond together.
But even then, I mean, what you said, like, other person, even when they die, they don't want other person to feel bad. So
I know.
You should be aware of that, So, and then even for respect for that other person, you should let it go. You know what I mean? Because that's how you show respect. You cannot just be in a bad mood, or because, like, you are trying to find again a reason to be in a bad mood. You know what I mean? Like, it's not it's not about the other person. Then it's about you. Like,
when a ship loses its anchor, it drifts around. It's
yeah. I know what you mean, and that was the thing. That's why
sometimes
she
it
was.
can't be helped. Takes time to learn these things, and that's one of those things that I don't know. I hope I never get tested like that.
I was thinking about the death itself,
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think you know that what we talked yesterday, that third part of your breath, the last part when you exhale. So then basically you go into that meditation state, and so there is also like a sleep state when, you know, a sleep can last for 1-2 seconds, and for you it's you know, you think it's longer, because I think now it's also related with the speed, because like I have some experiences that my thoughts were like in a different speed, so I could see a ray of light coming from the space and form a picture around me, like a never mind. But anyway, so from that experience, and from experience, like in a sleep, you are not on that level of speed, but you have some experience, like some, how to say it, side effect of that, because like for example, dream lasts for 1-2 seconds, but you think it lasts for like half hour or whatever. You have like a whole story behind it. It will not fit. So, and once I had like some kind of near death experience also, when I was almost fell down from the 6th floor, and in that, like I had 1 second, which at that time last, like I had so many thoughts in my head that when I start to speak about it, I speak for 10 minutes, but that all 10 minutes compressed in like in 1 second. So what I think is that so it's also the same with that I spoke yesterday, that when you release your thoughts, then you become like one, you connect with that global consciousness without thinking. You live in that space between thoughts that we spoke yesterday. So I think, you know, when you like dying, your time gets slower and slower, and then when you die, you basically freeze the moment, or you are outside of the time. So something like that. Like if you
You
go,
believe in past lives?
no, not past lives. I mean the experience, is the memory is in the brain.
Taking into consideration, yes, that memories excluded.
I don't know what's bouncing through my brain, but that bouncing will stop, and that
Yes, it's a combination.
exit.
I guess it's a combination of heart, mind, and body reaction to certain things. Some things only the mind reacts. Some things only the heart reacts. Some things only the body reacts. But
even the heart has a neuron.
There are a few things that you'll come across which all three will come together, and you'll be like, wow, you know, this song is awesome, or wow, this poetry is unreal, or you know, this article that I've just read is awesome, or you know, this person is amazing, or you know, you'll learn something from history that you feel a connection to instantly, like it instantly fascinates you.
With whole your, like
With your whole being,
whole being, yeah.
And I feel that's kind of the core of who you are. Memories excluded, because you know each lifetime is a new path, new river to swim along, swim against.
You see, I was even testing that, because when I switch countries and when I switch city and things like that, like, you know, you have like from your childhood you have like closer persons in your life, but then it's just a specific type of personality. And then when you go to another country, I was testing like, who will I meet that will bring me the experience that I need? Because I think that there are people scattered around the world, but they share some kind of same root.
Connection. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you're
then there is
correct.
a
I've
reason.
come to the same conclusion.
Hmm?
I've come to the same conclusion.
Yeah. They share the same root, and there is a reason why they will meet sometimes, because as we said yesterday, time is just a construct. So, and then
Yes.
it's
And
that
everything happens. Everything happens.
patience is a virtue.
Yes.
So
Yes,
that's
it is.
also thing. Yeah. So that's why you shouldn't be considerate with the time, because everything will happen when it needs to happen.
Exactly. I'm a firm
Yeah.
believer in that. I try not to push things too much, because I find that if you push things too much, that's when you cause things to derail.
Yeah,
go
because
off.
then
You've interfered too much. You should just leave it alone.
yeah, because you don't
Help if you
understand everything.
Help if you can, but don't interfere too much if possible.
Yes,
Leave it
yes.
to its own natural devices.
Yes.
And it's wisdom that teaches you when it's right to intervene and help, and when it's time to stay out. And that's the hard
Yes.
part, is knowing the difference between
Yes,
when
yes.
to do something and when not to do something. That will drive you insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to explain the reasons why would you interfere. Why? Because I always said, like, you need to accept good and bad things equally, because you just need to
Indeed.
let it be, and then it will come to you as it should come. But you also have to do something. You have to show initiative. You need to steer yourself in a direction. So there is that balance again.
What is sometimes perceived as a bad can have a lot of good be learned from it,
Yeah, yeah.
where you can actually transform that negative into a positive and amplify it
Yes.
by sharing the experience with others,
Yeah, that's
amplifying
why
it further.
I never, like, even if something like a shameful, like I like to talk, like, I also try to, teach other people to do the same. Like, if you feel that you are ashamed of something, you need to push it until it becomes, you need to make it, what's the word? Now I missed the word, but not funny, but not irrelevant, meaningful. There is one word that connects all of those together. Now I miss it, but never mind. But like, if something you are like, like, for example, when you are first time with some girl, then you don't even want to fart, for example. But after you live with her for some time, you fart without any, without any, like, you think that is something to be ashamed. It's totally
Let the
normal. Yeah.
let the
So
barriers
that's the thing. Like, if you think that something you holding something back, but there is no real reason for that. Like, you just just let it, like, make it absurd, make an absurd of it, repeat it so many times, so it becomes, it lose the value for you, like, and you will understand why it lose the value, but that's the process. But if you hold it, then you will never come to the solution. Why is that? Why you put weight on it? Because people put weight on things, so you need to explore yourself, so you don't have a shame. And then, even if something happens to you that you maybe don't want to share, I think it's always beneficial to share and to talk about it, because, as we said yesterday, we all have same experiences. And yeah, anyway. I am Q2.
Greetings.
Yeah, I think I will go to bed now. so I can work
Understandable.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Understandable. It's been a pleasure. Always welcome. You know that.
Yeah, it's nice talking. My plan was to keep quiet and listen to you, but again, I talk too much, and then I just cannot stop, man. I just
No. What was meant to happen happened for a reason.
yeah,
Otherwise, it
yes,
wouldn't have
no,
happened.
yeah. And nobody was holding anyone back. Like everybody was free to talk, so I don't feel that I took someone's place.
No,
Yeah,
precisely. No, it's been good chatting, and I look forward to the next chat. But for now, get some rest, my friend,
yeah, I
because
need.
you're gonna need it for tomorrow, just so the day isn't such a drag.
See you then. Here, talk later. Bye bye.
Guaranteed. Ciao for now. All right. Wiser.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Greetings.
And
I guess we could.
salutations.
I guess we could call that a show for today.
All right, if there's anybody out there want to come in, if not, all right. A slow Sunday,
Indeed. A relaxful time.
Monday for some
Casual.
already.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And it's October the 18th for them.
The future is now. Yeah, sounds good. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and shut it down then. Thank you everybody who listened, and thank you everybody who joined. And like, share, tell people, and same time tomorrow. Click the link.
Same bat time, same bat channel. And be excellent to each other.
Yeah. Plant the world one seed at a time. Thank you again. Good night.